I feel guilty when I want to go on a little escape, a little 5 minute walk, a
Mm-hmm.
little 10 minute walk by myself. And how do we get through the hurdles of the mom guilt, right? The mom,
Yeah.
because at least I'm not sure. Is that common? Do you guys feel guilty?
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. Like, is
No,
it just me?
totally.
Yeah.
No, I think it's so
Yeah.
common. And look, I think it's like I've been thinking about this a lot with another child coming because I'm like, I know it's just going to get harder
Right.
managing an
Mm-hmm.
additional schedule, additional needs, like finding that time. And when I think about like time that we need, I think about time we need for ourselves, right? I think about
Yeah.
like the work
And
piece.
how
I think
much
about
of it
time,
is
right?
okay.
Exactly.
Happy New Year, Gina!
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. So, what's your holiday like? I'm curious. I've seen it like bits and pieces. I even saw like your stories and stuff about
Yeah, Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, is one of the holiest days in the Jewish religion. I feel like people like are more familiar with like Hanukkah because it happens around Christmas time and like that actually in like the scheme of Jewish holidays is not even like close to as important. It's basically about like not that dissimilar I guess from what you would do on like the world's New Year, but reflecting on the previous year, focusing on what you're hoping to get out of the year to come. That's a big part of it in terms of customs and like traditions. For example, this bowl of apples was from when we went apple picking and now is dwindling. Like we went insane. Like Ray was having so much fun picking it and Matt and I were just kind of like, yeah, whatever. And then we had like bags and bags. I was like, I can't even eat them. I'm like, what are we going to do with them? But we did use a lot of them for the holiday. But one of the traditions is you eat apples dipped in honey and it's about a sweet new year ahead. Like the circle of the circular shape of the apple kind of represents the circular nature of the year. But that's a little bit about the holiday. It's a nice one and really important to practicing Jews. For us, we we like I thought it would be easier because I'm really pregnant and we're like getting toward the home stretch. Matt is an amazing cook. We love hosting. It was just like easier to have people come here. But we
Right.
hosted
Mm-hmm.
both nights of the holiday and like I didn't really think about like yes, it was easier because people came here, but like it's still a lot of work hosting everyone. So it was kind of exhausting, but really nice. And Ray goes to a temple affiliated school. So she's like learning about it in school. So she was excited. And,
Mm-hmm.
in many ways, like kind of like reminds Matt and me of things. I'm like, oh yeah, you like know more about it than I remember, like in some ways. But yeah, overall it was really nice. I appreciate you guys asking. That's really kind of you.
Yes.
So, what do you do with the
Yeah, what's up
apples?
with the apple situation?
Yes.
Right.
Allergy?
Fun fact about me, guys. When I was 9, I developed allergies to fruit that I never had in the first 9 years of my life. So,
All fruit?
as this
Any fruit?
almost every fruit, I can eat I cannot eat apples. I can eat bananas. I can eat watermelon, and that's it. um,
Okay.
no berries, no peaches, no plums. Basically,
How
when
did you figure this out?
I was 9 and in day camp, traded snacks with my friend in my camp group and ate a plum, like broke out in head to toe hives. And as I remember it, like the same
Crazy.
friend who traded with me was like, Jill, you have mosquito bites everywhere. And I was like, what? And then I looked in the mirror. I'd never seen hives. My mom had to pick me up. And, they gave me Benadryl, the whole thing. And they were like, gosh, that's odd. I'd never had that before. Like, all right, we'll just see. And from that day on, every time I ate fruit, hives, 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 apples, grapes, all things I'd been able to eat previously. I have a ton of allergies, not food specific. That's my only food one, but just
Okay.
in general, I'm a highly allergic person. So I got
Okay.
allergy shots as a kid and stuff like that. And every few
So did
years,
I.
they would have me try
Oh.
again and just see if it like went
Mm-hmm.
away the same way it came on. And every year I was still allergic. So the last time I tried was actually, I was in my early 20s and I haven't tried since. So there's a chance that I'm not allergic anymore, but it never seems like an opportune time to be covered in hives, Like, I'm just like, it's not, like, it never, like,
try it out.
never seems like the right day to give that a go. So I just don't and haven't. But they seem to think, now that I've had a lot of allergy testing and stuff over the years, they seem to think it has to do with the sugars, because in watermelon, kiwi, and banana, they share sugars. Like, I could probably eat kiwi. I haven't eaten it recently, but I probably could because I could eat the other two. And then there's different combinations of sugars in berries or in stone fruit or like these other things. So they think that's where the allergy is. But yeah, it's crazy. And someone actually said to me, I have a colleague who's like a dietitian, and she was like, when you're pregnant and like your hormones, there's all kinds of crazy shit going on in your body, your immunity changes. Some people develop allergies that they never had temporarily, and some people lose allergies that they had. I was like, it's not going to be something I really have time to do right now with a preschooler and being this pregnant, like having a massive allergic reaction. My doctor was like, no, thank you to that theory. We're not testing that out. But I have been curious. I'm like, I wonder if I would be right now. So anyway, getting back to the apple picking, I love doing it. It's not that far from where we live, and it's really beautiful being out in nature all day. And my daughter loves it. And we've been going every year since she's a baby, but I can't eat any of it. So like we go through this like whole process. So I mean, Matt is the real chef and cook of our family, as you guys know. Like, I have other talents. That is not really one of them. So he usually like kind of takes point. He and Ray made mini apple pies. They made apple sauce.
Cute.
They've just been like eating apples constantly, like a snack every day, and we still have a lot. In the past, he's done things that are maybe a little more out there and creative, but it's usually a thing that they do together, and it's kind of nice and special for them. I just wear overalls and show up.
Oh, so cute. The whole apple picking thing. I'm not sure. Michelle, you're going to tell me. We don't do that too much in Cali, do we?
So I know of a lot of people who actually
do.
I've never been with my kids.
It's like such a Northeast thing. Like, like everyone I know goes apple pumpkin pick. Like, that's just like up here because it's like
pumpkin.
You're so. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pumpkins. We do pumpkins.
And strawberries.
Yeah.
We do strawberries here.
That's what I was going to say. We do strawberries.
Okay.
We've done that with Ray too. That one I actually was really fun when she was like a toddler, because she could actually like do it. Where the apples were kind of frustrating because
you got to go up and
it's too high, and it's like it requires more assistance. But I feel like the strawberries, if you have young kids, is really fun because they can really do it themselves. But
here in Orange County, here in California, it's all about the freeways, right? So the 405, which is the one that comes from LA down, and then it kind of connects with the 5 down into San Diego, right off the 405 in Irvine. Like, there is this humongous, it's called Tanaka Farms. And it's just a big area that if they took that down, the amount of money that land is probably worth is ridiculous. But it's like in the middle of the city, right off the freeway.
What do they grow there?
They do strawberries, they do pumpkin,
So it's like a thing everyone goes to do.
It's a farm. So you can go and pick green onions. They have cilantro. What else do they have there? There's times that you can go and they do tasting. So you stop at each place. They take you on a little train ride, and you stop, and then they do something to try. Then you pick. It's obviously in the summer, like June, July is the strawberry picking time. After that, they do the pumpkin patch. It's a really fun place for the kids. Well, we haven't been the last couple of years, but we used to go a lot there. It's so strange. Right off the freeway. Like this gigantic
it's like
farm.
Not where you would expect to see that.
Especially in Irvine. Irvine is this really expensive area in Orange County. So it's just strange. Anyway, but it's awesome. The kids love it. and it's really close to our house, so it makes it really easy.
Well, there you
That's
go.
fun.
When everything kind of starts to develop and stuff, it takes
Yeah.
away some of this, you know,
Mhm.
original land, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
wonderful that you still have that little patch.
Seriously.
That's
If you drive down the 73, there's a toll road. It's the most beautiful drive you'll make in Orange County, and it goes through the mountains, and as you're coming down the mountains, you see the ocean. You can see all the way to
Ooh,
Long Beach and LA. You kinda just see it, but it's the highest point in Orange County, so when you're driving,
so
sometimes in the
pretty.
morning, it's foggy
Mm.
because we get that
Yes. The
ocean,
fog.
you know,
Yes. The mist.
the
Yes.
mist, it's
I love
beautiful.
that.
So if
Yeah.
you ever come to Orange County, drive the 73, which is a beautiful road to drive in.
I
So, anyway,
love all
yeah.
of that takes me back to those moments when I met my husband and we didn't have a little baby in the mix yet. Mine were
Yeah.
all grown up and we went to do all this crazy adult stuff. And today's topic is going to talk a little bit about that because we're going to go into it a little bit. The last episode I edited, Michelle opened up with. It was a story about the hen, remember? Do you remember about the hen? The story about the hen. It was a mama duck, but you
Oh.
called her a hen.
Oh,
And you
yes.
asked
Okay.
Jill. You said, that hen, she laid her eggs and she abandoned them. And you go, Jill, please don't abandon your egg. And it was the weirdest, most random thing. And then we were talking about how in future episodes we were going to talk about
The hen?
poss- about us being the hen and potentially like having these crazy feelings of sometimes wanting to abandon our eggs. But, anyway, that was the funniest thing. Actually editing it, I started cracking up and it was so funny. But fast forward. Yeah, I think that I'm definitely in those fields, you guys, sometimes. And it didn't start with my third, it started with my first. By the way, backstory, I've always loved children. I've always loved my children, your children. You bring me kids, and I'm the happiest person. So, coming from a person who loved children more than adults, more than animals, more than anybody in the world, I still have my moments where I want to say, you know what? F them kids. I'm just going to say it, right? So I just want to talk about your feelings about that topic. Do you guys have any stories? Do you want to share what you think?
What's crazy is when you said F them kids, before I changed my parents and program name, it was called F them kids.
Really?
And it definitely was.
That's so
And
funny.
it was such a popular term that everybody was using. I realized that the F stand for foundation, freedom, and focus. And that's how I
Mm.
kind of changed the perspective of F them kids
Mm.
because as parents, we need freedom. We need to focus. We need a solid foundation. I love my kids, but
Mhm.
Uh,
I love my
Right.
kid, but sometimes I don't wanna be a mama at the moment. Sometimes I want to just be without feeling like somebody is dependent on me. Like, I love my
Mhm.
Yes,
kid, but
ma'am.
sometimes she talk a little bit too much.
Mhm.
Or we all have these "I love my kid, but"
But
moments.
moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and we shouldn't feel guilty for that because it's not saying, "I don't want to be a mom, I regret it." It's just
That's right.
those are moments in motherhood and fatherhood too. It's like, at this moment, I really can spaz, or at this moment, I really need a moment for myself, and I don't have the capacity to show up as mom. I love you, but I
Mhm.
mm,
can't do it, or I love you, but your attitude is poor right now and I can't deal. So there are a lot of buts. I love you, but this is hard. Having to deal with your meltdowns, having to deal with everything that surrounds being a mother. It's hard. I
It's
love you, but
hard.
Mhm.
this is hard. And it's okay to say I love you, but it's hard. So
mm,
having a support system like this where we can be honest with each other to say, I love my kid, but, and not feel like we're being judged or feel like you're such a horrible person because of that.
Yeah.
So,
I went to dinner with a friend of mine. She has a kid, like he was in the same class as Drake. The conversation starts, don't you love working sometimes just because you're away from home? I kind of miss working outside of the home because now she works at her house and they homeschool their son. She's like, I just kind of miss getting up and going somewhere. And it's not just because I'm getting up and going somewhere, but it's because then I'm away from my kid for a little bit. And so her husband is the one that homeschools their son. It's very interesting because it's kind of a role reversal in a way, right? And she's like, don't you just want to go to work? And I said, sometimes yes, sometimes I do. Sometimes I just want to run outside the house and just go hide somewhere so nobody can find me,
For
you know?
sure.
But I mean, we're not abandoning them eggs. We just need a little bit of time away. If you go back, my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom. Like stay-at-home moms, like that is the feeling that they had probably all their lives. I have no idea what that is. I only experienced that when I was pregnant and then I had the baby and I was bonding with my baby for 3 months. But that's the only time in my life that I have been able to be at home with my children. And then you start getting cabin fever because I'm the kind of person that I need to go out. I need to go do stuff. With Drake, he was so little that we needed to stay home all the time. We couldn't get him around people because if he got a cold, if he got anything, he would end up in the pediatric ICU. And so because he was so little, we stayed home a lot. And by the time it was time for me to go back to work, I was ready. Now with Rio, on the other hand, with Rio, we went out, we traveled, went to Vegas all the time. We would go and we would stay in Vegas for like a week, and then we would come back and we would go to water parks and we did all this stuff. So it was fun getting out. But we also got out with our kids. Every once in a while, I had to say, I got to be out for a bit. I got to do something else. Even though we were doing fun things, I still needed that time of me. And so that's when I started. Well, we started early, but my kids go to bed pretty early. Rio now, she's 16 apparently, because she wants to go to bed whenever she wants to go to bed. But Drake is usually asleep by like 7:30. And we used to do the same thing with Rio. But now that she turned 8, my new bedtime is 8. So then we tried. Last night she was awake until like 10:30. And I'm like, this is not going to be sustainable. You got to go to bed. We got to do the 8 o'clock thing. Because that was kind of my time of, you guys are asleep. I'm doing my thing. I'm going to watch whatever I want to watch on TV. I'm going to do my work. I'm going to do what I need to do. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. I think that every woman, like we all deserve time away. And so do the dads. And so, everybody in this world, even the kids, sometimes they need to go on their own.
Your story actually reminded me a little bit about one that my husband talks about. He's traumatized. He was traumatized traumatized, I'm saying loosely and even a little bit playfully, because from an early age, or I want to say about 5 or 6, he remembers having to go to sleep when the sun was still out. It was very torturous for this little active young boy.
That. We do that.
Us too.
And he said he would cry. He wouldn't understand it. And from then on out, he vowed that if he ever had a son, he would never make him do that. And this whole thing. And I laugh because till this day, he stands on it, by the way, but he's not the primary caregiver. But till this day, he's like, I can't get that out of my head. But now I'm thinking, oh, it makes sense. It makes sense. His mom was probably like, it's time. it's me time now. It's time for me to do my own thing.
But it's also like what they need too. Like most kids function, obviously it changes at different ages how much rest they need. But like most kids, the optimal bedtime, especially young kids, is going to be that 7, 8 o'clock mark. Like that is the way their body clocks are designed. And I feel like it's also their job to kind of push back, but it makes sense that it's even past just the parents needing their time. Like that's actually better for the kids. Kids that are like going to bed at 10 o'clock. That's not really going to be ideal amount of rest for them either.
No,
but
it's not at all.
But yeah, I get that. I think what's interesting too, like we've had, because I get how that's confusing for a child. And we've had those conversations with my daughter before, who also doesn't understand, like, if the sun is up, why isn't she up? And I'm like, go to bed. No, but we like have, like we darken the room and stuff to help support that. But we've had this conversation, and it's like trying to explain to a kid about daylight savings. I'm like, I don't even freaking understand daylight savings. I don't even know how to make it make sense. But we've had conversations about that before, that like it actually is the same time, but like the sky just looks different, and sort of, in an age appropriate way, trying to explain it. But I can understand from his perspective that conversation probably didn't happen. So it felt like a punishment in some way. And that doesn't feel good
Jill.
As a kid,
So when I was growing up in Brazil, we don't have this. Like the sun doesn't stay up until 9 o'clock at night. Where we are on Earth, we don't have that problem. Usually by 5 or 6, the sun is setting, and then you go to bed. So we don't have those super long days. And that was such a weird thing for me to understand. My brother was just here this summer, and he was like, it's 8 o'clock at night, and I can still see you, and we don't need lights outside. He's like, this is so strange, because that's not how we grew up. That's not how it is in Brazil. And so it's a change. So we didn't have that problem going to sleep when it was light out. We did wake up in the morning when it was dark, because for some reason school in Brazil starts at 7 o'clock in the morning. So we have to get up by like 6. We have to be out. So, that's just kind of how it was. And things are different in different parts of the world.
That's so interesting.
And here, my kids, they don't know any better. That's what they know. And then pretty soon it's going to be 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's time for my son to go to swimming, and it's dark.
It's dark.
Dude.
So I know. That's always tricky, I find. Like, same with going to the park in the afternoon after school. Like, the sun is setting and the park is dark, but you're also like, well, I don't want to just like be home for 4 hours. Like without getting energy out. But it is tricky. And I get from a child's perspective how that's really confusing. Maybe, Jackie, you guys can talk about like how you can explain to your son, even from his young age, that the timing is the same, and it's to give him the most rest, to give him the energy to do all the fun things he wants. Maybe that's the conversation your husband never got to have,
That's a very good point, Joe. I will talk about that with my husband, because it's so embedded in his core of just his childhood. Was like, it was doomsday every time he went to bed. And I could see that being awful. But, anyway, going back to the mom side of it, I could see how mom was like, F them kids, you go to sleep right now. Because I don't know that she was that strict about other things. That's why, the only reason I say that.
That's interesting.
So, So, and then there's a whole story on that I won't really share about my husband, because I'm not sure I have his permission. But like, there's a lot about being a mom that I feel that sometimes I'll talk about myself. I feel guilty when I want to go on a little escape, a little 5-minute walk, a little 10-minute walk by myself. And how do we get through the hurdles of the mom guilt, right? Because at least, I'm not sure, is that common? Do you guys feel guilty? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. I think it's so common. I think it's like, I've been thinking about this a lot with another child's coming because I know it's just going to get harder. Managing an additional schedule, additional needs, finding that time. And when I think about time that we need, I think about time we need for ourselves, right? I think
Yeah.
about like the
And
work
how
piece.
much
I
of
think
it
about time,
is okay.
right? Exactly. Like
Yeah.
time I need with my husband, separate from our kids, time we need together. And I'm also thinking about each child is going to need individual attention. Like my daughter, Ray, that's here, is going to need time, especially in this transition with just me, with just my husband, with just us and her, with someone else watching the baby or the baby sleeping. That is going to be very, very important for her to feel like, hey, my world's not crumbling. I'm still an important part of this family unit, right? So I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's like, well, the day doesn't multiply in hours, so what do you do? And I think it is really challenging. I like to look at it as coming back to what Tiesha was saying earlier, like it could be, this is true, but also this is true. Think about that a lot. Like two things can be true. I can need a break, and that doesn't mean that I don't love being a mother and I'm not a devoted mother, right? And I think if we like sort of can reshape some of that thinking or flip the switch when those thoughts come on and instead think about it like, hey, if I'm going to show up the best I can in every part of my life, right? As a partner, as a parent, for myself, me and my job, whatever it is, this is an integral part of this. Rather than feeling bad about it, don't I want to show my daughter that? To give you guys an example, yesterday, with the holiday and stuff, my daughter was home, and when we weren't doing things around the holiday, we had open time in the day, and she really needed to get out and go to the park. And my husband was like, I'm going to take her, just take some time for you for a little bit. And we don't all have to go. We'll all meet up after, but like go call a friend, go for a walk, just take a second and we'll meet up. And my daughter wanted everyone to come. And immediately I started to feel bad because I know in a couple of weeks, this baby's going to be here. And I'm like, the time that we have the three of us is limited. All this stuff started coming up. And then I was like, you know what? I also want to show her like, hey, I love you. And we are all going to be, and we were, like I met up with them after. And also it's really important for me to go on that walk and call my friend that I haven't caught up with in months and have that conversation because that helps me be a better mom to you, right? My daughter knows, she doesn't fully understand it, but she knows every week that there's an hour that I go and have a call with my therapist. She doesn't fully understand what that means, but we've had conversations around, that helps mama be a better mama. And so I have this call every week and I talk about my feelings and things that feel hard right now. But I want to normalize that for her. It's like, hey, that's not selfish. That actually is how I take care of myself to show up better in relationship to you and to everyone. I think if you can reframe it, not as a thing you're doing that takes away, but rather a thing that you do so you show up better, that helps me have an easier time. The guilt still comes up, but I can remind myself that I'm actually doing this for the better good of everyone. It actually does help her for me to do this, even though it feels like I'm taking away from her,
Because if you don't do it, what would happen? I want to talk about that because it gets ugly. The ugly comes out, it rears its ugly head, and then the guilt is even greater after that.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
So,
right.
What
Because that's when you're impatient. That's when you start yelling and showing up in ways you don't want to. You're burnt out. Right. Like, and I mean, we've all been there. I've done it. I've come to learn even this, like working out, because part of it is just being really pregnant. And part of it is that it's been a particularly busy time. And that's the first thing that goes for me because I'm just like, oh, well, I don't have time for that because I have to take this call or I have to go to this or whatever. I don't feel it immediately. But all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute, like there's some need that's not being met that you're like not able to show up the way you want to. And I feel like that's one that I start to feel. I feel it in the moment, but collectively, after I'm not out in a routine with that for a little while, all of a sudden I'm like, wait, you know? But
because of my job, the nature of my job, we always wake up early because usually surgeries start either at 7 or 7:30, and we usually need to be there an hour or 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes before. I'm used to getting up early. That's why we do this so early in the morning for me, and it's fine, you know? So, But it's always been like I don't sleep in anymore because my biological clock is like 5 a.m. My eyes open and then I make myself go back to sleep. But could I wake up at 5 and go? Yes, I could. One thing I decided to do, which I have not been doing and I need to go back to, is working out at 5:30 in the morning because I have not worked out in a while. Because of my job, I never know what's going to happen later on. Like there might be a surgery that comes on, something's going to happen. And, I don't have 100% control of my day because I'm in somebody else's schedule. And so, waking up in the morning and doing that and even getting stuff done in the morning is a lot easier for me than doing it at night. So another part of this is like, okay, I went to work. It's 5 o'clock. That's when we eat dinner. It's very early for us. Now we're actually pushing it out to 6 o'clock because my kids go to bed early. So we usually have dinner pretty early. So if I decided to go to the gym after work, I wouldn't see my kids because I leave before they leave before they're awake because I'm at work. And then when I get back, they would be already going to bed also. And so I try to put everything I can early on in the day because I have more control of that. And then I don't feel guilty that I'm not home for dinner and bath time.
So you make it work for you so that you're more present with your kids and also get your me time.
And I don't feel guilty because they're sleeping. But that also means it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Michelle does not function anymore. Like my husband and I, when it's been a long time because there hasn't been a great movie out in a while. Whenever we go out at night to watch a movie, he's like, you missed most of the movie because I'm asleep. Like
There's no way.
It's
There's
like
no
between
way.
8 and 9. Like after that, forget about it. But, but that's just how it is. And those are the things that you kind of compromise in a way. So, but it's worked for me, the waking up early. I just need to get my butt into the gym is what I need to do.
I was actually curious how Tiesha felt back in those early days because I know she did it by herself a lot of the time. So, do you remember those days, Tiesha?
I kind of do. For the most part, we were on the same schedule because I had to go to school and she had to go to daycare. I would have to get up before her, get dressed, dress her, and then we're all out of the house together. She didn't get out of daycare until like 6. So my mom would pick her up when she got off work. My mom would then come to the school and get me because I was on the dance team or doing some extracurricular activity. And then we would all come home. Every other weekend, she would go with her dad. So those were the times where I would be like, whoo, I can sleep in. But on Saturdays, we didn't sleep in because we had to get up and clean up. The music could be blasting, the windows would be up, and the smell of bleach and pine, so like it was time to clean.
Similar to our culture as well.
Listen, after we clean our house, then you can go take a nap. So that was one thing I dreaded because I love sleep. Me and sleep, we go together real bad. real bad. As I'm getting older, I find myself waking up, I roll over, I look at my phone, I be like, it's 7:30. Roll back over and make myself go to sleep. When I'm sure I could probably get up and do something. But it's like, this is not how it's supposed to be. As time progressed and she got older and I was in college, I would sleep all day, work all night. While she's at school, I'm sleeping and I'm up all night studying, doing work, working on business plans.
Oh my gosh.
All of that thing. Like, so my sleep pattern, you know how little babies, their sleep pattern, they get day and night mixed up? That was me. Because
that is hard.
Yeah, I did.
Girl,
I felt
I
like
don't know.
I felt like my work was best at nighttime. I work so much better at nighttime. It's like my mind is fresh. I had even started, I'm gonna be a 5:30 girly. I'm gonna be a 6 o'clock girly. And I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. I tried and It was so hard, and my husband was like, "Baby, that's just not it's not your thing." But he wants me to come to bed with him every night, so I can't stay up late at night. I have to get up earlier if I want to get things done. And once married and, with my daughter, I told them, "Mondays are me days. So on Mondays, don't bother me. If the house ain't on fire, if y'all ain't bleeding somebody dead, don't bother me. I'm going to my room, and it's like, I'm not here. Y'all figure everything out as though I was not here." I would go into my room, I would watch whatever, I lay in the bed, I would read. It was just a moment for me to restart my life for the week. And that taught her how to spend time with herself. It taught her that, what? Me time is important. I have to take care of me before I take care of everybody else. And I cut myself off to everybody. I just recently, I was like, I got to get back to my me days. But it's just my husband and I. I still feel like I need that me time from everything and everybody because I'm still always doing and always going. Because my husband, he'll
100%.
go and play football. Like, that's his thing. They still go out and play football. On Sundays, he'd go play football or do basketball. That was his time away. For me, it was just like, now what am I supposed to do with this time? I don't know.
Take it for yourself. Do it for
Hey,
you.
I would normally go to my mom's house or I'm at church and come home and take a nap. Mondays were my days to just chill and do whatever.
And I really think that at the end of the day when we're busy being moms, or in the beginning of the day when it all begins, I think that forcing ourselves to be comfortable with the mommy guilt in the beginning really will pay off anyways. Just push yourself to do it anyways. I say that from a place where I have had to push myself to do this anyways because of the aftermath when I don't. And I do become a very big, screaming, raging bitch. Let's just put it out there. That's me. That's me. And I do it to myself though, because I don't want to experience the mama guilt. But if you just push yourself and give yourself that moment, that time away from everything without apologies, then you will be the better version of yourself.
I do want to say this. As mothers, and each of us on here, we are wives. We also need to find time for our husbands as well. The same way we
Yeah.
have mom guilt, we have spouse guilt. It's a real thing. So let's
Yeah.
not put them on the back burner because we feel we have to show up as super mom all the time. As women, we carry stress and we don't know it. Stress is a silent killer. And some moms, they feel like I'm just going to check out. So I just want to encourage each of you that you matter, especially with it being Suicide Awareness Month. Each of us matter to somebody. The fight is not over. Each day you get up, fight through it, whether you're dealing with postpartum depression or just life and you feel like it's a lot. Understand that you matter and get up and keep fighting. Somebody is dependent on you. Like, you really matter more than you think you do. So it's really not the end. It's just the beginning. Where you feel there should be a period, just go ahead and make it a semicolon because God is not done with you yet. And there's still so much more for each of us to do. I just wanted to share that with each of you. And I also know that it's Hispanic Heritage Month. So that's y'all thing. Like, Jackie, you supposed to be, lock in with us, Celebrate yourself.
Celebrate. Yeah.
Yes, like take every moment to celebrate, even the smallest things, because moms, we're doing it. Hands down, we are doing it regardless of how we may feel. We're going to have moments where we feel depressed, angry, happy, sad. And it's okay to have those feelings. They're natural. Feel 'em.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for always encouraging us with our husbands. I'll tell you, being a divorcee, it's so important to do that, you guys. Not enough of us women realize how much we do, unfortunately, neglect our hubbies. And sometimes it will come up later in discussion and or resentments. And if I could save you from anything that I did wrong, I would tell you at home right now Tiesha's words of wisdom. These are words of wisdom. Please, even if you don't think that, you know, that is a you topic with a him topic, you gotta try to take into account also your hubby, your partner, your domestic partner, your boyfriend, the father of your kids. They also matter in every situation. Every day I wake up and ask myself, am I depressed? Is today going to be a great day or not? I really ask myself, what do I feel here? It's a wonderful thing to journal it, to try to put it in some words, to try to take it out if you can, to talk to somebody. If you can't talk to somebody, what I love to do is record myself. Yeah. And I just talk to myself and I'm like, I feel like absolute crap today and I don't know if I'm going to make it, but here we go. Then go back and listen to yourself. It's crazy the amount of self-awareness that you can get from something like that. And with that, you guys, that is the end of our episode today. That is all the time we have. We love all the comments, all the feedback. Please add us to your IG, _mom_panel. We will be raffling every month a mama bag from the mom panel. Please look out for those posts and the winners of each month. Very soon, we're going to have an amazing guest that's going to talk about all those hard things. And we're going to start having more and more guests on the mom panel. So I hope that you stick around for that. All right, guys, we'll talk to you next time. Bye.